Welcome back. This is the Lightforge podcast, Grinning Goats Voyage to the Sunken City is card review preview stream slash podcast slash VOD. And this is Objective.
This is Merps. Let's talk once again about colossal minions. All right. This one is going to be an S tier. It's not S plus.
S
I
tier,
don't know. It
not
doesn't.
S plus. It totally matters. This is not as good as Anexia. This will not win you the game when you play it some percent of the time. Even if you don't die immediately the next turn. This can be beaten.
Fantastic. All right. We're talking about Gaia the
I lied.
Tectonic.
It really can't be beaten.
We're talking about Gaia the Tectonic. This is an 8 mana 5/7 mech with Colossal 2. After a friendly mech attacks, deal 1 damage to all enemies. By the way, this means if you had mechs on the board before you played this, it counts. After a friendly mech attacks, you are summoning 2 Gaia's Drills. These are 2/3 mechs with Rush. So, what you're effectively doing is for 8 mana, you're summoning a 5/7 body, and you are dealing 4 rush damage and 2 AoE damage to all enemies. That's what's happening.
So
and then, of course,
it's one mega swipe.
Yeah, you're doing a mega swipe, a mega AoE. While summoning a 5/7 body, and of course, if any mechs survive, if the drill survives, if Gaia survives until the next turn, Gaia is a friendly mech, so that would deal this AoE damage as well. I think you can see why it's not like the S plus, and it's just an S, but once again, way too much initiative, way too much damage. Persistent effect. Do you have to get rid of Gaia? Yes, of course you have to get rid of Gaia immediately. If you want to stand a chance at winning. It's just it's like drop this. You could be behind and suddenly you're winning. If the game was in doubt, well, you very much so won by dropping this. It's just that good of a card. And you can discover it. Remember, mechs in Mage.
Mage and Paladin. A lot of mechs in Mage and Paladin, and the discovery is for these Colossus. Okay, so what makes Gaia not S plus, which means that what is S? S is like Ysera, and you beat Yseras all the time. I beat Yseras all the time. I wouldn't say if my opponent plays a Ysera, I'm more likely to win than lose, but it happens all the time. With Anexia, I almost never win when Anexia comes out. With Caverns on 4, I never win with Caverns on 4. But this is beatable. It's just a mega swipe. It's just a consecration with 4 more damage. That's it. You may have stuff left on the board afterwards, right? If you just had 2 Yetis, 1 would be alive. To give an example. It's totally workable. As long as your opponent doesn't start with mechs already on the board that can attack, which is what makes that at that point you're done for. But if they're just dropping this, you survive, the drills die, and then you can kill Gaia with just a 5/7 that deals 1 damage. You don't even have to kill Gaia. It's recommended that you do, but all Gaia is going to do is deal an extra 1 damage to all enemies every turn. That's not even a Baron Geddon. That's half a Baron Geddon. And sometimes you leave Baron Geddon up. So you definitely can leave Gaia up afterwards. There's just all sorts of ways to beat Gaia. So it's not an S+. It's not even close to an S+. This is just a good super legendary. This does not end the game the vast majority of times.
It's just very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, just know, Colossus are not all the same. Don't get too freaked out just because someone drops a Colossus on you. It's very good. You're probably going to lose, but the game's not done yet. Unless they drop Hydralodon, in which case, yes, the game is over. You have lost. Okay, now let's look at actual Mage cards. So Mages don't have any A cards, but they do have 3 B tier cards, including 1 B plus tier card. That's pretty good. So the first one is Spellcoiler. It's common. It's 2 mana, 2/3 Naga. Battlecry. If you cast a spell while holding this, which includes a coin, discover a spell. Discovering spells is good.
It's real good. There's also a Naga. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, it doesn't take much. If you have a coin, that's great. Discovering mage spells is quite nice because mage has some pretty trash spells, but mage also has some really good spells.
Hmm.
So, yeah, you're
Yeah.
very happy when you get this.
The problem with this card and why this card is not higher is because you don't use it as a 2-drop, like ever, because discovering a spell is so important. So if you can't coin it out as a 2-drop and you're not playing a spell before then, and you're probably not going to die depending on the class you're facing, you don't drop it as a 2-drop, and that really hurts a 2-drop's value. Next up are B tier cards. First one is Trench Surveyor. Trench Surveyor is a 2-mana 3/2 mech. Battlecry Dredge. Love that. And if it's a mech, draw it. So you can get a card out of it if you happen to have a mech, and you're okay dredging the mech. No.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah. You're probably not going to have that many mechs, but hey, when it hits, it's really good. And if it doesn't hit, you still dredge. Next up is Mecca Shark. Mecca Shark is also a B tier card, 3-mana 4/3 mech. After you summon a mech, deal 3 damage randomly split among all enemies. Follows a line of mage cards that do this kind of stuff, usually with spells. This is summoning mechs. Probably play more spells than mechs, but it does its thing.
It does its thing. All right, cool. You'll have a decent amount of mechs.
Yeah, especially as mage. Next is Gift of Ashara. Is Ashara like their god?
I don't know. What you should specify that we're now in the C tier.
Oh yeah, we're now
once
in the C
we jump.
tier.
Yes,
we're in the C tier now. Moving down from the B tier. So this is an arcane spell, 2 mana, draw a card. If you played a Naga while holding this, do it again. So this is pretty good if you have any Nagas in your deck, because you're probably not going to use this until later on, at which point you probably played a Naga. Then it's just 2 mana, draw 2 cards, which is better than Arcane Intellect.
Yeah. You'll have some Nagas. Sometimes, like, it's... I think it's just fair, right? Like, you can either get a better Arcane Intellect, or... you basically just don't want to play this at all, unless you really don't have any Nagas left, which sometimes happens. But I think C is fair.
Mm-hmm. Next C card, Volcanomancy. It's an epic fire spell, 2 mana. It's a good thing you're not going to see this that often. I had the hardest time trying to figure out how to value this. But it says, choose a minion. When it dies, deal 3 damage to all other minions. So you plant a bomb, and it explodes when the minion dies, and it deals 3 damage everywhere for 2 mana. So it's kind of cheap, but it's also pretty risky.
That's the problem with it. So here's what I'm kind of thinking. It's great if you have something okay. When you really need to deal 3 damage AoE, right? A lot of times it's because you don't have anything. If you have let's say they left up a 1/2 or a 1/1, something like that, that's fantastic. Load it up onto that thing and then bump it in. When you need the AoE, you really need the AoE, and then sometimes you just can't get it to trigger on that turn. And if you just can't get it to trigger on that turn, you're dead. Holy shit, that's really bad. Because what you're gonna put it maybe sometimes you can play a 2-drop and then play this, and then they can just hit your face again, or
Super
then
sheep.
trigger it. It's just it's a super sheep, right?
It's not good. Super sheeps are not good because sheeps are not good when you can't ping it. But that brings you to the other thing, which is what else you could do with this, which is you can just use it as a spell if your opponent has anything with only 1 health by using this and then pinging. And then it's 4 mana to deal 3 damage to everything, which is not great, but you need an emergency, you got it, right? It's just it's a very situational card. It can be really good, but oftentimes, if not most of the time, it's going to be awkward, which is why it's not higher.
I thought about this card a lot because you just try to imagine all the situations with it, and I think that cards like this as an AoEs, they have to have a little bit more consistency to be higher. Like, because with these, it's just it's also the reason why you hate minions that fall asleep, right? It's like when you want that minion, I want that minion. I don't want it to be falling asleep. Here, it's like I can't have a inconsistent, as in sometimes it won't even trigger. In some board states, this is absolutely useless. I don't have an AoE. And when you need AoE, you really need it. Because a lot of times you'll just die. So yeah, I thought about this one a lot. It was kind of tough. And I think on average, it is like a C. There will be times in which you'll use it and you'll be like, wow, this is like the best thing ever.
And there will be times in which dead card.
Yeah.
Like even more dead than other double-sided board clears. Okay, another C tier card, Asharon Sweeper, 3 mana, 3/4 mech, common card. Battle Cry, put a Sunken Sweeper at the bottom of your deck. So it's like a spider tank, but you are putting a Sunken Sweeper on the bottom of your deck. A Sunken Sweeper is a 3 mana, 3/4 mech, so another spider tank. But this one adds 3 random mechs into your hand, which is pretty sweet.
Good. So once again, here's the thing. You gotta play this, right? It puts the sweeper into your deck. Now remember, what's a normal 3 mana 3/4? It's
a
it's
D
like,
plus.
like a D plus, right? Yeah.
It's like it's a very high D plus.
So this is like half a tier higher, and then you have to pull up the other card. And then the other card, it's not amazing. Like, there are some decent mechs. There are some really bad mechs, too. So, you have to pull up the other mech as well. And then you can, like, maybe... I know everybody...
Though.
You do get 3, so you'll probably get one good one. You know, you'll get one good one in there. But I don't know, like... which good one you're going to get. Is it going to be the Mothership? That'd be great. You could get Gaia. I know everybody thinks they're going to get Gaia, but I'm sorry, guys. You're not always going to get Gaia.
All right. So what you should do is you play the Sweeper, right? And you put it, down there, and then you play a Trench Surveyor, and then you dredge it, and then it's a mech, so you draw it, and then you get more mechs. Right? And then that will give you more sweepers, right? And then you put more things down there, and you'll also have more trench surveyors, right? So then you dredge it back up until at some point Gaia happens.
That's exactly it.
You just do it enough times, right? That's just, it's a loop. It's a loop. It's a satisfying mage RNG mech loop. In reality, that loop is not going to succeed the vast majority of times, but you still get a lot of resources out of it, right? Like 3 mechs is still 3 mechs, even if the mechs aren't necessarily the best one, and each one's a lottery ticket for you to get Gaia.
Yep. So once again, it's about, because I see some people, and I think some people are just like, oh, this is better. I mean, the initial body it's a spider tank, right? It's nothing that special. You have to dig up the other part of it, right? So you have to dredge, and then you have to play it, and then whatever you want to play after that is going to be further delayed, potentially. Yeah. And there's no guarantee that you get something amazing from it.
It's good odds, though. You have like 20% odds to get one of Mothership, Gaia, or Sneed.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Like I said, it's a lottery
to get one of those. Yeah. But still not insanely high. And there's also this point, I see it in like chat, and I also just see it. Getting bad... Okay, there used to be a point years ago where in the late game, even if you got bad cards, at least they were cards. Nowadays, playing bad cards is more punishing than ever before. Like, you can say it's like, well, even if I have like a real shitty card, no, it's definitely more punishing today to play bad cards than it was previously. Mostly just because the bad cards are even worse in comparison to the average card that someone else will play. So, you play a very bad card, well, that card is much, much worse than something your opponents will play, and that will probably cause you to lose more often. So, many years ago, you could say like almost any bad card is at least a card. Today, you can say for quite a few of the bad cards, like this is actually unplayable.
Yep. All right, so that was a C. Now we're moving on to D tier cards. So we are in worse than a croc zone. First one is Seafloor Gateway. Seafloor Gateway is a 3-mana spell, no tribe. Draw a mech. Reduce the cost of mechs in your hand by 1. So, not good, but not unplayable. It is 3 mana to draw a card. You normally spend 1 mana to draw a card, and it's like okay, and you can put it into your deck. You're drawing a mech, not really exactly what you want to be drawing, but it reduces the cost of mechs in your hand by 1, so it's really a 2-mana spell, and then you just have to have 1 more mech, and then it becomes that 1-mana spell. That's not the most god-awful thing to put in your deck, so you can make it happen, is kind of what it ends up being.
Yep. Okay. So, I mean, this is
it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's not an F. It's definitely not an F. Like, I think it's a little better than some people think it is, but no, it's not. It's not good.
All right. Next up is the legendary, the other legendary, the non-colossal legendary. Again, D, not good. 4 mana, 3/5, Naga, Battlecry. If you cast 3 spells while holding this, add those spells back to your hand. So you are not going to cast 3 spells while holding this, most likely, especially because, as you see, there's not all that many good spells happening in Mage in this expansion. But if you do, most likely it'll be involve a coin of some sort, and you're going to get it back at that point. And it means that you're not playing this as a 4-drop. But otherwise, it's just a bad 4-drop.
Yep. Okay, that's good.
Finally, we have a F+ tier card. The F+ tier card is Spite Lash Siren. It is epic. It is 4 mana, 2/5, Naga. After you play a Naga, refresh 2 mana crystals. 4 mana, 2/5s are bad. Refreshing mana crystals doesn't do that much. How many Nagas are you going to play?
A good point. That's it.
That
Good
is
analysis.
it. All right. So Mage has this nice and very interesting, I think, mech package, but it's not like that good. It's functional. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's functional, because it'll be real sad if it's not functional in the arena. But we'll find out soon enough. But I think it's gonna be functional and just not good. And the rest of the Mage stuff that's coming out, again, it's just not good. Mages have been powerful because of the epic bug. Now that the epic bug is gone, mages are not really that good. And they're keeping these sets that are coming out. Like, you look at Alteric, it's just the epics that's good. You look at United in Stormwind, there's no A tier cards for Mage in there at all. It's just a couple of Bs. So mages are in this like value deficit where they just don't have good enough cards to compete with the top. And nothing's really changing that here. It could be like you're hoping everything kind of comes together and it's interesting enough to play and the RNG stabilizes it somewhat. But this is not really a power package here. No A cards. The only S card is the legendary.
Yep. Okay. I think that's good.
All right. Let's give the shout outs on the next time. We're doing Priest after this. See you there.
Bye.